Hello anybody, and thanks for tuning into Monday Morning Handicapping. This is a 2025 Kentucky Derby race projection. I've never done one of these before, something new, but I thought I would try to show everyone the runners in the race and where they're going to be throughout the race, also the fractions or the split times for each quarter mile throughout the race, and just get an idea of where I think each runner is going to settle and when they're going to start to make their moves for the Kentucky Derby, the first Saturday in May coming up in just a few days. So let's dive on in. So just a couple of my projections first. This is based on my interpretation of the racing form and the previous 11 Kentucky Derbies. I did a video a while back. It's number 0 in this playlist. You can go check it out. I'll also add a link in the description. But the thumbnail looks like the picture down at the bottom that you see. And I go over the past 11 Kentucky Derbies, look at the fractions of each race, how far back the eventual winner was at each stage of the race, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of information in there. So if you're interested, feel free to go give that video a look. If there are close calls, I don't know which horse to put where throughout the race. I will defer to the post position or the most favorable path, which in my opinion is just down near the rail, saving ground. So if two horses look about the same speed, or one is just slightly faster, but he's on the outside, I might put him in front of the horse to his inside, down closer to the rail. I'll also look at when the horse ran its better race or figures. If a horse did better a little closer to the front, I might move that horse up closer to the front. Even if his most recent race was a little further back, I'm going to assume most horses are going to want to resort back to where they did their best running. So if it's a close call and I didn't know where to put a horse, some of these variables might sway my judgment one way or the other. The other thing I look at is the time form US figures that's located in the past performances right under the horse's name and the jockey. There's a little time form US figures number, and that indicates how fast a horse likes to run early in a race or late. You might see it say early 100 and late 60. That would indicate that it's more of a front runner, or those numbers could be flipped with a 60 early and 100 late, indicating that the horse is pretty much a closer at that point. So when two horses look close, I would resort to one of these three variables and move on accordingly. And admittedly, I am biased with number 8 Journalism being my most likely winner. So I did a little bit of working backwards with Journalism winning and how he could win the race. But I did look at all the runners in the race and try to determine where they're going to be throughout the race based on the post positions and their running style. So just a quick look at the screen here. At the top right, we have a map of Churchill Downs, and in the red bar, I'm just indicating where on the racetrack this part of the race is taking place. So this is the break. It starts right at the very top of the stretch, so right up here. On the right, I'll have the list of the runners in the race, their numbers, and the morning line odds. Of course, the odds could change, but just in case you lose track of who I'm talking about, and I'll try to say their name and number as I'm explaining them, but I'll just have those up there for you. And as we go through, I will have some fractions up here for how fast I think the race will be run. So let's just dive right on in. This is the break. So right when they break out of the gate, from the inside, I don't think number 2 Neoquist wants to give up the lead with an inside post position, and number 1 Citizen Bull has no choice but to go toward the lead from post position 1. He is a front runner, and down on the rail, he doesn't want to get pushed back by letting other horses get in front of him, so I think they're both going to go. Number 3 Final Gambit may very well be last early and try to make one big sweeping run around the final turn. That's just sort of his running style. I can see number 4 Rodriguez stalking his stablemate, which is number 1. They're trained by the same person, Bob Baffert, along with number 5 American Promise, who ran very well last time out while stalking another one of Baffert's former Kentucky Derby hopefuls. Less is known about the international shippers, but gauging off his last replay, number 6 Admire Daytona looks to want to be forwardly placed and may not gun for the lead, knowing there's a ton of other speed in the race, so I think he will be forward. I see number 7 Luxor Cafe and number 8 Journalism sitting just behind all the front runners, leading the mid-pack of runners early and trying to get down near the rail to save ground around the first turn, with number 9 Burnham Square settling in just behind them, also looking to get a ground-saving trip on the rail. So with these three runners, they have a lot of speed to their inside. I think these horses can clear out, and 7, 8, 9 can kind of just drop in behind them going into the first turn. Number 10, Grande will look to be at the back end of those front runners early and try to get down on the rail, maybe in front of the 7 and the 8, but behind these other front runners. Number 11, Flying Mohawk should be one of the early trailers, and with lots more speed to his inside, should be able to get to the rail, but might have to drop back a bit further than what is ideal. So I think he's going to want to be in the back, but with all these horses to his inside going in front, he's just going to have to drop down behind them, and that might push him back further than he wants to be. Number 12, East Avenue looks to be one of the fastest horses in the race, but seemingly has been trying to learn to rate based on some things I've been hearing during his workouts. So I think he'll be right up there with the leaders, either goes to the lead or sits just off number 5, American Promise, due to his outside post. So when he gets out, he's going to have to take a look to his inside and see what the other horses are doing, and just ultimately decide if he wants to go and try and take the lead and get down to the rail or settle in close outside of these other runners. Number 13, Publisher, and number 14, Tistastic look to have similar running styles and should be at the back end of the middle of the pack early on. Number 15, Render Judgment, and number 16, Coal Battle will settle in mid-pack, save ground if possible, and wait for their cue to make their runs later in the race. Number 17, Sandman will be alongside or just behind number 13, Publisher, and number 14, Tistastic, and look to save ground and make his run later. Number 18, Sovereignty will be forced to be a little bit closer than ideal due to his outside post position. If he tries to take back and get down to the rail, he's going to be way in the back. I don't think he wants to be really far in the back. I think he'd rather be mid-pack, but due to his outside post position, I think he's going to have to move up a little bit forward earlier on and just probably have to take a wide trip around the turns, which, as I've explained before, when you go around wide turns, for every path or lane, think of it, each lane is like a horse width. Each lane that you're out, you're running one horse length further of a distance when you are out one path around an entire turn. So if you're down on the rail, that's essentially a 0. If you're to the outside of the horse that's on the rail, you're running in the 2 path, so you're running one length further than the horse on the rail. If you're 2 horse widths out from the horse on the rail, you're in the 3 path and you're running 2 lengths further for each turn that you're in that path from the rail runner. Number 19, Chunk of Gold, will look to get in front of number 18, Sovereignty, and sit about mid-pack. I did hear some interviews with the trainer, and they want to get number 19 out a little bit closer to the front of the race early, and he said specifically mid-pack. So look for Chunk of Gold to show a little bit more speed, and he's probably going to have to show some more speed being way on the outside, not wanting to be way too far back early. And number 20, Owen Almighty, has to gain position with speed from his outside and try to avoid going too wide on the first turn. So this is pretty much how I think it's going to shape up breaking out of the gate. So taking a look at the run into the first turn, again, look to your right, you'll see the little red marker for where I'm talking about during the race. I think that first quarter mile from where we just were down to this first turn will be running about 23.35 seconds. But I ultimately decided that number 12, East Avenue, will go for the lead and try to slow things down later, perhaps raiding off number 20, Owen Almighty, who will want the lead but doesn't look to have the stamina for the distance. Number 1, Citizen Bull, and number 2, Neo Equus, will be sitting just behind that pair of leaders, with number 4, Rodriguez, and number 5, American Promise, and number 6, Admire Daytona, sitting down near the rail just behind the pairs of front runners. I think number 4, Rodriguez, will sit right behind his stablemate down on the rail because of that speed to his inside. I think he'll be able to get down to the rail and sit right behind his stablemate, and I think that's part of the tactics. Is Citizen Bull, number 1, is going to make sure that there's a fast pace, and then later on in the race, move out or make a move so that Rodriguez can stay on the rail and get a rail trip throughout and let Rodriguez run up the rail in the stretch. Trailing those in mid-pack looks to be number 7, Luxor Cafe, number 8, Journalism, number 10, Grande, looking to save ground and not use up their energy trying to be too close early on. I think number 9, Burnham Square, will be just behind them, and number 16, Coal Battle, will be a bit further back than usual because he does have that push button move that we've seen from him before, and the push button move is just essentially when the jockey says, okay, let's go, the horse responds well and puts in a really big run. But he's been running out of steam at 9 furlongs, which is a mile and an eighth, and this is a mile and a quarter, so I think he'll conserve more of his energy early and try that move in the far turn instead of the backstretch like last time. Number 15, Render Judgment, has some early speed, but without risking being wide in a very fast pace, I think he will be relegated to a ground-saving trip at the tail end of the mid-pack runners. Number 14, Tistastic, and number 19, Chunk of Gold, will lead the late closers and be comfortable doing so. Number 3, Final Gambit, will be near last but able to ride the rail all the way around due to his inside post. Number 13, Publisher, and number 17, Sandman, will do their customary late closes from the back, and number 18, Sovereignty, will be further back than ideal due to his outside post position and will have to find a place to settle near the rail early. I project number 11 Flying Mohawk to be near last, if not last early in the first turn, partially due to his post position. He's not a super fast horse, and he's about middle of the pack, so there's going to be a lot of chaos around him. He's going to let horses go and settle, and I think he's going to find himself near the back early on in the race. Onto the backstretch. I think the half mile will be about 46.25 seconds. And I think that once number 12 East Avenue gets his lead and preferred trip on the rail, he's going to put his ability to rate to the test. And again, rating is just running at a comfortable tempo without being on the lead and just sitting right behind one of the other leaders. You might catch a slight breather here and allow the lesser chance number 20 Owen Almighty set the fractions while they block the 1 and 2 path. So horses that want to go by him are going to have to go around them, go wide around the track. This is when I think number 6 Admire Daytona will creep to their outside and begin to challenge for the lead once they are on the straightaway. I think this is where number 10 Grande will follow number 6 Admire Daytona in order to get a little head start on the favorite number 8 Journalism, with number 7 Luxor Cafe still down on the inside. So I think the 10 is going to know he's got to beat Journalism to the punch and start to make his move and just follow this number 6. I feel that number 9 Burnham Square and number 15 Render Judgment will be sitting just behind number 7 Luxor Cafe and number 8 Journalism, biding their time and waiting for the 7 and the 8 to make their runs before making their own runs. So I think they're just going to watch these horses in front of them, and when they start to go, they're going to follow suit. At this time, I envision number 16 Cold Battle to start inching up due to his natural cruising speed, but also to get into position to have a clear route to make his powerful run that we've seen before. But hopefully for his sake, the jockey is a bit more patient and begins that move during the far turn and not the backstretch like we've seen before. This is where I think those deep closers are going to start fanning out to the 3, 4, and 5 path and start to find a clear path to begin making their moves by the far turn. This includes number 8 Sovereignty, number 17 Sandman, number 13 Publisher, number 14 Tistastic, while I think that number 3 Final Gambit might be relegated down on the rail and hope to find a miracle seam to run through later on in the race. I don't think number 3 is going to want to go wide around these horses, so I think he's just going to wait and hope that a seam opens up somewhere later on in the race where he can sneak through on the rail. Into the far turn, take a look at the diagram where we're at. I think the 6 furlong or 3/4 of a mile will be 1 minute and 11 seconds flat. In the far turn, I can see number 6 Admire Daytona being in the 3 path to get up alongside the front runners, while number 20 Owen Almighty begins to drop back. I think around this turn there will be a gap that opens up for number 1 Citizen Bolt to begin to make a bid either inside or outside of number 12 East Avenue, which will in turn open up some space for a stablemate number 4 Rodriguez, which I think were the tactics all along. Again, have number 1 Citizen Bolt ensure a fast pace, let number 4 Rodriguez follow that pace, saving all the ground down on the rail, and have number 1 Citizen Bull move out to open up space for number 4 Rodriguez. Number 2, Neo Equus will follow number 6 to the outside, requiring number 5 American Promise and number 10 Grande to go outside of him, while number 16 Gold Battle is gearing up to make his big run to their outside, unless he can find a seam somewhere down in between these runners. But I do not envision number 16 Cold Battle to make his run down near the rail. I think he's going to be out wide, look for a clear path, and just give it all he's got. This is where number 7 Luxor Cafe and number 8 Journalism might run into some traffic concerns and might have to wait until the field fans out for home to find a seam to get through. Number 9 Burnham Square will need to make a choice between losing ground and swinging out wide, maybe in the clear, or stay behind number 7 Luxor Cafe and number 8 Journalism and hope he can outkick them in the stretch. I predict number 15 Render Judgment will be a bit flat here, not really gaining but not falling back too poorly, but I don't give him big chances of actually winning the race, but I think he'll be down on the rail, not making up any ground, while number 19 Chunk of Gold will stay near the inside and wait for room in the stretch as well. The rest of the closers will be starting to fan out wider around the track, getting in gear and avoiding to have to maneuver around anyone else down the stretch. I don't think they're going to try to find their seams. I think they're just going to fan out and see how much they have left in the tank. Into the stretch, I think the 1 mile will be about 1 minute 36.75 seconds. This is where I think number 4 Rodriguez finds his seam and takes the lead away from number 12 East Avenue, along with number 6 Admire Daytona. Number 2 Neo Equus will be starting to give way, with number 5 American Promise not making up any more ground due to the early pace. Number 7 Luxor Cafe will follow behind number 4 Rodriguez, while number 8 Journalism kicks out and finds a seam around the 4 path to battle down the stretch. Number 10, Grande will try his chances outside with some hope. I think he won't look out of it at this point. Number 16, Coal Battle is an athletic horse, so I think he opts to not be too wide and look for a seam just to the outside of number 8, Journalism. Number 18, Sovereignty will be looking to roll down on the outside with number 14, Tistastic, number 17, Sandman, and number 13, Publisher just in behind him. Late closers number 3, Final Gambit, and number 19, Chunk of Gold will opt to stay down near the rail and follow behind number 7, Luxor Cafe as he punches a hole through the field down near the inside. So 3 and 19 late closers, I think they're going to kind of follow this horse on the inside and try to fan out around him once they get in the clear, while these other closers 13, 14, 17, 18 are going to go wide around the field. So down to the wire, I think the final race will be finished in just over 2 minutes. 2 minutes and 2.5 seconds is what I predicted. Here we will see the early speed of the race start to take its toll as runners begin passing number 12 East Avenue and number 1 Citizen Bull, while number 2 Neo Equus, number 5 American Promise, and number 10 Grande begin to lose some steam. I think number 16 Coal Battle will have put in his run, looked interesting momentarily, but will ultimately be caught by other rivals in the stretch. Number 19, Chunk of Gold, and number 3, Final Gambit will have found their lane on the inside, but it will be too late to catch the new leaders of the race, but might get up to run pretty close. I think number 6, Admire Daytona, will have put in a good challenge for the lead entering the stretch, but will eventually tire out from being a bit too close early on and making his move too early in the far turn to hold off these quality closers in the race. Ultimately, and I am admittedly biased because I do think Journalism will win the race, and therefore I sort of worked backwards from that eventual result. I think that it will be a fight to the finish between number 4, Rodriguez on the inside, number 7, Luxor Cafe, and number 8, Journalism in the middle, and number 8, Sovereignty rolling down the outside. I think that number 4, Rodriguez will be up close on too fast of a pace to hold off some of the early pace stalkers, such as the 7 and the 8. And I think number 8, Sovereignty, will have lost too much ground from the outside post to make up the difference, with number 7, Luxor Cafe, and number 8, Journalism having sat mid-pack down closer to the rail. I think they'll get the jump on the leaders and fight it out down the stretch. With number 7, Luxor Cafe having dealt with the travel from overseas, I would not be surprised if he did come up a little extra short and ran 3rd, 4th, or 5th, and number 18, Sovereignty, got up for 2nd instead. So just some of my overall takeaways from the race. I think there will be a fast enough pace early on for a mid-pack or closer to win the race. There looks to be enough early pace for the closers to get up and have a chance at passing many of the tiring front runners. So maybe they're contenders for some of your exotic bets underneath, like the exactas, trifectas, or superfectas. Along with most other people, I do think number 8, Journalism, is the horse to beat, and the post position draw of number 8 will suit him very well, especially with plenty of speed to his inside, which will clear out that path for him to get down near the rail and save ground around the whole racetrack. At that point, it's just a matter of him avoiding traffic and not running in behind any horses and getting stuck without being able to make his run. My predicted order of finish is number 8, Journalism on top, with number 7, Luxor Cafe, with number 18, Sovereignty in 2nd or 3rd, kind of either order. Each tier is indicated by a slash, so in first place the 8, 2nd or 3rd the 7 or 18. Any of these runners for 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 6th. Number 4, Rodriguez. Number 9, Burnham Square. Number 17, Sandman. And number 19, Chunk of Gold. Chunk of Gold is going to be a long shot, so that's an interesting one on the underneath part of your tickets. And the 7, 8, and 9 finisher contenders, these could get up for 2nd or 3rd, but I just have them a tier below these other runners. The number 3, Final Gambit, who is a furious late closer, but has yet to run on dirt, so I have some questions there. Number 6, Admire Daytona, another one of the international shippers that has run very well and has run close to number 7, Luxor Cafe, in previous races. And also number 3, Publisher. It is a maiden, but he does come in and he runs very close to some of these other talented closers. He's yet to win a race, but he's always there late in the race, putting in a good run. So I don't think the distance will bother him. It's just a matter, along with all these horses, is whether or not they can make out clean trips. So that's a wrap on the Kentucky Derby projection that I've done. I might fine tune it, but I feel pretty confident, and that's at least what I'm thinking as of now. If there's a runner that you like, there are workouts at Churchill Downs available, so go take a look at your horse actually on the track, see how they look. I typically look for anything negative about a horse. It's hard to find what's exactly positive. I mean, they all look good, but if you see them sweating or acting up or not being able to get under control, that's a lot easier to spot than a horse that's feeling good, because they all look like they're feeling pretty good out there. Feedback is appreciated on this page, whether it's positive, negative. You have suggestions or recommendations on something you'd like me to cover, just leave it in a comment below. Reach out to me and I try to do my best to answer all comments and questions. Please like, subscribe, and or share with friends. Again, go check out video number 0, Kentucky Derby Race Pace and Track Profile, for more information about how the previous 11 Kentucky Derby races were run and won. I'll add that link in the description. Target audience is for folks that are relatively new to the sport. So if you know anybody that's interested in horse racing but feels a little overwhelmed with all the information being thrown at you, please share my page with them. I have a couple of playlists, how to read a racing form, where I break down the racing form. I brought friends to the track and it's just overwhelming and daunting for them to look at a racing form and really decipher it. But in that playlist, I break it down into really easily digestible bite-sized pieces, explain what each little section is telling you. I really don't find it that complicated, and I hope I did a good job at explaining each little piece. And when you put it all together, the racing form is just there to help you make a decision on which horse you think is going to run best. So share that playlist with anyone who's interested in horse racing that you may know. After they get through with that, I do have a betting on horse racing playlist where I talk about all the bets that a track typically offers the player. I talk about what the bet is, explain exactly what you have to do to win the bet, talk about how much the bet costs depending on your ticket structure, how I like to structure some of the more exotic wagers, and also some of the things I look for when putting together one of those exotic wagers. So good luck to everybody who's playing the Kentucky Derby. Let me know what you think of my little illustration of the race that I've done here. Let me know where you think I'm right, where you think I'm wrong. Feedback's appreciated. So again, thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next time.